we're going to go ahead and call the regular council meeting to order. Chief Lloyd, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have a roll call?
Here. McKinney?
Here.
Shaver? Here. Heights?
Here. Make a motion to excuse Mr. Searcy and Mr. Bertone.
Second.
McKinney?
Aye.
Heights?
Aye.
Barricknick?
Aye.
Shaver? Aye. Thank you.
We have a couple of commendations here this evening. All of our resolutions this evening are going to have to be put on first read because we don't have enough council members present. We're probably going to be pulling a special meeting together Friday. Time to be determined. It'll be at Village Hall to pass the ordinances that we need to in a timely manner. These two are just honoring, the first one is honoring the football team this year, and the other one is honoring the opening of the new school campus. And as we get into the other ordinances later on in the agenda, I'll explain which ones of those we'll be taking to the Friday meeting. So this first one is resolution number 2025-111, honoring the 2025 Skippers football team. A commendation honoring the Harding High School football team 2025 Northeastern Athletic Conference champions. Whereas this council recognizes and celebrates the outstanding achievements of the local youth and athletic programs that bring pride to our village. And whereas the Harding High School football team completed an extraordinary 2025 season with an undefeated regular season record of 10-0, securing the Northeastern Atlantic Conference championship title. And whereas the team advanced to the postseason, earning a number 2 ranking in the Ohio School Athletic Association Division 7 Region 25. And whereas this season marks the program's first undefeated regular season since 1949, when the Skippers went 9-0, making the 2025 campaign one of the most historic in the village history. And whereas Coach John Nagel provided strong leadership and guidance throughout the season, fostering a culture of perseverance, sportsmanship, and unity among the players. And whereas the accomplishments of the 2025 Harding High School football team have brought pride and honor to Fairport Harbor, inspiring the community and honoring the legacy of Skippers football. And now, therefore, this council of the Village of Fairport Harbor commends the Harding High School football team for their exceptional performance, dedication, and historic achievements during the 2025 season and extends its best wishes for continued success in the years to come. Now, as most know here in town, the football team and the coaching staff is not here this evening, not because they didn't want to receive this prestigious legislation, but because they're playing basketball and coaching basketball, and they have a game tonight. So upon passage of this, I will be presenting this to them and the school board at an upcoming school board meeting. I invite all of council to be there at that meeting, and the public too, if you wish to attend it. But this is certainly an honor to read this. I ran chains for a number of years for the football team. Me and my crew retired this year, but I was asked to do the last game of the year, which was a special honor. And truly, 10-0 is spectacular and something to be celebrated. So hurrah for them. Commendation 2025, resolution 2025-112. Commendation honoring the opening of the new Fairport Harbor School campus and public library. Is Bill here tonight? I didn't see him. Okay, so we don't have anybody from the school for this. Again, I'll be reading this at the opening ceremonies, which is December 9th. Okay, so I'll be there and I'll present the school with this as well. Whereas the council recognizes the vital importance of public education and civic life as it fosters informed citizens, strengthens communities, and prepares future generations for leadership and service. And whereas the Village of Fairport Harbor celebrates a historic milestone with the opening of a new centralized school campus that brings together pre-kindergarten through 12th grade students under one roof, creating a modern, collaborative learning environment for the next generation. And whereas this innovative campus reflects the community's commitment to education, providing state-of-the-art facilities that support academic excellence, extracurricular activities, and the holistic developments of every student. And whereas the new campus also serves as the proud new home of the Fairport Harbor Public Library, a cornerstone of lifelong learning and community engagement, ensuring that residents of all ages have access to resources, technology, and programs that enrich lives. And whereas this achievement is the result of visionary leadership, dedicated educators, library staff, and the unwavering support of the residents who value education and community. And now therefore the Council of the Village of Fairport Harbor commends the Fairport Harbor Exempted School District of the Fairport and the Fairport Harbor Public Library for their dedication to advancing education and literacy, and for creating a campus that will serve as a beacon of learning and community pride for generations to come. No special legislation, reading of minutes. Can I have a motion to approve October 21st, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
McKinney?
Aye.
Vathnik?
Aye.
Shaver?
Aye.
Heights?
Aye.
Thank you.
I have no further report this evening from our solicitor, Mr. Jim Lyons.
No report tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. From our administrator, Lucas.
I have quite a few things, most of which is in the packet. First, the comprehensive plan survey is open. A link is on our website and Facebook pages, and there are flyers around the village that kind of look like this, that have the link and a QR code to the survey on them. Please encourage your friends, neighbors, family, estranged relatives to complete the survey. Verdantis will be at Lake County Title during Harbor Holidays from 1:30 to 5:30 p.m. Residents and visitors are encouraged to stop by during that event. That's where they'll have the public comment boards. You'll be able to interact with the components and building blocks of what the plan will be. And then just like in years past, the village will have a Christmas tree lighting on December 6th at 6 p.m. at Veterans Memorial Park after the Grinch reading at the Lighthouse as part of Harbor Holidays. We are currently looking for a part-time customer service and utilities specialist, which is a very fancy title for a billing clerk. The job is currently posted on Indeed. We are excited to announce that the village has received a $100,000 grant from ODNR's Division of Forestry for the creation of an urban forestry plan and tree planting. This project will run from 2026 to 2027. We're hoping to have the grant agreement in front of council at the December meeting. Included in your packet is a memo for employee health insurance. From the quotes that we received this year, our renewal with Medical Mutual would have been 58%?
59.
59%. So we are recommending that the village switch to Anthem with their whole health connection, which only is an increase of 2%. And this is offering the same program through BBG, our agent that we've offered the last several years, which gives the employees on their end the same benefit. We also included a list of the quotes that we received and all the fun increases from alternative options. That will also include us moving dental insurance to Anthem as well, which would increase the annual maximum for dental insurance for employees from $1,000 to $1,500 and add orthodontics for dependents under 18. The vision plan wouldn't change. We are locked in at that rate until 2028. And that is plan offered through SOCA, which is the Southern Ohio Chamber Alliance, which the Eastern Lake County Chamber of Commerce is a member of. Also included in your packet is a memo for general insurance, which is everything else, or covers everything else that we do. We are recommending moving to PEP Ohio this year. PEP Ohio is a savings of around $16,000 versus Ohio plan. Is Fred here? Hi there. Do you want to come up and talk about your product?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We came on a good night, I guess, huh?
Yes, you did.
Well, to the mayor, council, the administration, Rob and I both are very happy that we have this opportunity. But before I get started, I just want to say this. Our agency started at the Diamond Alkali in 1951. And my dad would quote his fellow employees by day, and at night he would go out and get cleaned up and sell the policies. So we have a long history in Fairport. Many of the people I see here tonight, I probably shook 4 or 5 hands. Either I played ball with them, they were an employee of mine, we've had business dealings, so we go back a long way with Fairport. Currently, we insure the Port Authority, we insure the Finnish Museum, and up until this year, we insured the Mardi Gras for over 20 years. So we've been part of your life all these years, whether you knew it or not. Rob is the Vice President of Public Entity Insurance, the division for USI. He is the expert in the Public Entities Pool of Ohio, and I want to turn that over to him and let him answer any questions that you might have. Rob?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Council. I am the marketing agent for the pet pool in the state of Ohio. Just a quick history of our program. It started in the basement of our building 40 years ago with 4 municipalities throwing their money in a bucket and saying, if no one makes a claim, we may survive. And 40 years later, we now have 700 members. We are the largest, most well-funded pool in the state. And we will certainly welcome the opportunity to have Fairport Harbor join us. I can answer any questions you may have regarding the pool, the coverage, the services, and additional coverage options that we presented to the village.
I myself don't have any. You guys did a great job explaining it to Lucas. I don't know if council has any comment or questions.
No.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate you
Well,
coming and presenting tonight.
Could I challenge him a little bit?
You sure
Absolutely.
can. All right, get them.
So, you made a point of calling it a pool because it's not insurance, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, instead, it's something that was created by the Ohio Revised Code where governmental entities could band together, okay, to try to take care of the risks that are associated with these type of claims, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so it's a it is a governmental agency because it's subject to audit by the State of Ohio Auditor's Office, correct?
That is correct.
And I think because of that, it's probably public records, requests would have to be honored because it's a governmental entity, correct? But
You would have to ask the pool attorneys. I do not believe so.
Okay, well, maybe yes, maybe no.
Okay.
But because it's governmental, there's a pool of money is the reason it's called a pool that are assessed against the 750 members that are used to pay claims, both casualty claims for buildings, cars, or personal injury. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and because there's a finite amount of money that you have, which all insurance companies have, but you do have reinsurance, through another type of insurance company that covers risks over a certain amount. I mean, is that a fair statement?
That is a fair statement. The public entity pool retains either 250 up to 500,000 of each individual claim. Mm-hmm. We have a third-party administrator, Cedric Risk Services, which the village may be involved with them on their work comp program. They are experts in running pools. They run over 30 pools nationwide. They oversee our actuarial services, claims handling, loss control, and pretty much the running of the pool. They're the ones that are in charge of setting the reserves for claims. They're also the ones in charge of going out into the market and purchasing the facultative reinsurance that sits over those 250 and 500,000 retention rates.
Okay. That's really, it's a different concept, but but it's something that's within the Ohio Revised Code. And then, is there, public officials are required to have bonds, okay, or they're supposed to have, what's it called again, Lucas? Faithful.
Yes.
Right.
Right. Does this policy cover that instead of a bond? Is that part of the policy?
We discussed that it was not offered as part of our quote. We recommended to Lucas that the village consider this. HB 291, which was passed in 2020,
Right.
allows villages to transfer from bonds to
Right.
the faithful
And we
performance.
currently have that faithful performance, insurance. But you're saying that this quote doesn't include that right now?
No, I do not believe it.
It's only because we didn't quote it yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we can certainly provide it.
Okay, that's
If
fine.
you have already passed the resolution, which is required by HB 291,
We have.
then it's not an issue for us to quote and add it to the pricing.
Okay. And so since we only have 4 members and this is a resolution, we're actually going to pass this on Friday if there's a special meeting. And would we be able to get the, additional quote for that so that, we have the total package at that time?
Absolutely. I'll be able to get that to Lucas tomorrow.
Okay. I think that's all I have, but thank you. So,
One additional bonus, and I think we brought this up in the meeting. One of the things that the PEP program offers is a safety bonus, the PEP Safety Plus grant. It's done on an annual basis, and it's $1,000 for any safety-related purchase. It could be anything from signage, safety-related gear, traffic cones, mulch for playgrounds. Because you're joining right at the end of the year, prior to 1/1, you actually get $1,000. You will be eligible again for that grant again, January 1.
Very good.
and I know Lucas had this in his memo, but this is a claims-made policy, correct?
That is correct.
So will there be any gap, which means if, that it only covers claims that are made during this policy period, and I think this is for 5 years, so starting January 1st or whatever date this policy starts, if there's a claim, even if it was from 2023, it would be covered under this policy, correct?
Yes, as long as we have the prior acts coverage included, which I believe we do.
Right.
Yes, we would go back to any prior acts coverage to that initial date on the policy.
So that means since in Lucas's memo, it did talk that we have prior acts coverage as part of this, I think going all the way back to 2014 maybe.
Yeah, 2014 is the date that we've had for at least our last 3 carriers.
Okay, so that means because we have that prior acts, there won't be any gap in coverage.
That is correct.
I know with pools, and I've talked to Mr. Plutro because I've met Mr. Plutro before, that there is something called the golden handcuffs, that if we would want to get out at the end of this policy period, it's not completely seamless at that time. Is that correct?
That is correct. And we discussed this in our meeting. When PEP formed this pool 40 years ago, they were definitely they were looking at a cash crunch. Municipalities couldn't afford insurance in the open market. What they did is set up a mechanism that made sure that those members that were within the pool stayed if they had any open claims. Their fear was that a member would come in, have a significant claim, and bail and leave the pool, leave them stuck with the large claim. So part of our pool, our intergovernmental contract states that if you leave, you take any claims that are open and ongoing and any claims that have occurred but have not yet been reported. Now,
How about not reported, but how about unknown?
unknown and not reported, we would consider that the same.
Okay.
So what we would ask, so there's also, what our competition doesn't talk about is the flip side of that coin. That's the stick. I want to tell you about the carrot. We create a fund when you join the pool. It would be the Village of Fairport Harbor's Cumulative Reserve Fund. In year 1, we put 100% of your liability premium into it. In year 2, we put 75%. Year 350, year 440, you can see it's a graduated scale down to 0. After 6 years, you're fully vested in the pool. And at that time, if you decide to leave, you will receive a check from the pool. And it's usually about 50%. It's equal to approximately 1 times your annual liability premium. We are the only carrier in the state that pays people to leave. This is to counteract, you have to take your claims with you.
Okay.
Now, I also challenge you, if you have, and I'll use an easy example, a sexual harassment or wrongful termination claim. You have been preparing to go to court and defend this claim for a year with your current carrier. Rob Beglin and Fred Palutro walk in and they say, we've got a better deal for you. You're going to stay with the carrier that has prepared your defense and is getting ready to defend you in court. Until that claim's closed, a good insurance agent is not going to ask you to leave. If I knew that a claim existed, I would say you have to stay, guys, until that thing is behind you. Our contract just confirms that you're going to do that. We want you to be involved in the defense of your claim.
Now, you mentioned a number of entities that are here just in Fairport that the Palutro agency covers, and I think they're all with the PEP pool. But there's also, doesn't the city of Mentor, isn't that part of the PEP pool, and other Lake County communities?
City of Mentor, City of Garfield Heights, Cleveland Heights, Conneaut, and North Kingsville. These are off the top of my head. Are Geneva. These are all my.
Perry Village.
Perry Township?
Perry Township's with Otama, which is a sister company of the PEP pool.
Okay.
There, our agency represents 12 public entities in Northeast Ohio, and they're all either with Public Entities Pool of Ohio or with OTAMA, the Ohio Township Risk Management Association.
Okay. Thank you for letting me ask all the questions. I hope that it was informative.
Yeah, thank you for asking the questions. I really appreciate it.
As usual, Jim, I now know more about insurance than I ever cared
Yeah.
to. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Gentlemen, thank you again for your detailed answers and being here tonight. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
If I could just say,
Sure.
I know that you all are committed to the well-being and safety of Fairport, and I can assure you that we're going to be there 100%
Sure.
for you, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Lucas, you got anything else?
Yeah, the next memo, after the 6, 7, 8 pages of insurance comparisons, is about public safety dispatch services. So we received the contract for dispatch services from the county, and from 2025 to 2030, our cost for dispatch will increase by 94% over the 5-year period, with police rising 86% and fire by 107%. We did reach out to 3 different agencies that offered dispatch services: the City of Mentor, the City of Willoughby, and Chagrin Valley Dispatch Council. The City of Mentor came back proposing a $300,000 annual cost with a 5-year commitment. We can't afford that. There's not a world where that math works. The City of Willoughby and Chagrin Valley Dispatch both seem promising. We definitely cannot move as fast as we would have liked to get something in place by January 1. So it wouldn't be tonight, but at the special council meeting, we will recommend that council approve the contract with Lake County Dispatch for the 5-year term, knowing that there is a 6-month out clause. We provide the county with 6 months' notice. We can leave on that 6 months and a day. And we do plan to work with Willoughby and Chagrin Valley Dispatch to figure out what those options fully look like at the start of the year.
So let me just make a couple of comments about the dispatch. So both the chiefs were involved in 3 or 4 different conversations with the sheriff's department. I know Lucas, myself, Tony Bertone, We met with the two chiefs. Chris was not there. Commissioner, or the board president, or the president of the commissioners, Regovic was there, Jason Boyd was there. Two representatives from the sheriff's department was there. I don't remember the other gentleman from the county. I think that was it. And we discussed at length the term of the contract. What we were looking to do, and we thought we had agreement at the end of that meeting, was to sign, and our recommendation would have been to council to sign a 2-year agreement. So if you look at the financing of the agreement, years 3, 4, and 5 are considerably outside of what the village is currently budgeted for. We will have to make cuts or go to the voters for more funding just to pay for the 911 services. We tried very diligently to negotiate with other partners during this time. Again, Lucas touched on it. Willoughby, I think, might be viable, but they wanted to stand up. I think I think they're bringing on another community. They want to see how that goes. That might be a viable option. But if it's not a viable option, there's real conversations that this body needs to have, and it needs to have with its public. I personally have a hard time signing a contract that I know I can't fulfill. In talking that thought process out with our legal counsel, Mr. Lyons, there is a 6-month out clause, and it's on both sides. The county can get out in 6 months, and we can get out in 6 months. But the reality that's before you folks out there looking at us this evening and listens to these recordings is that years 3, 4, and 5, right now, today, the village cannot pay without making significant cuts in the safety forces that we just ran levies for a year ago to add police and firemen to the payroll. So we want to be open and transparent, as we always are. And the conversation we had with the county representatives, I think, was fruitful. I think it was respectful in nature. They definitely understand where we're coming from. It isn't that we don't want 911 services. It truly is a math problem for us. It's tenement to, I can call 911, but who shows up if I don't have police and firemen on the payroll? But if I have police and firemen on the payroll and I need 911, do I open my window and yell help? And then who comes to save me, right? So this is very real. A lot of this is being driven from forces outside of the county. I know the state passed a bill. I don't remember the name of the bill. Jim, what is it?
I don't remember the name of the bill, but
it has to do with the 911 services. The county, I think, took the approach to have 2 dispatchers on duty at all times, and that's where the cost of this is rising. But the other thing that I'll touch on here, and I really don't want to get into the weeds with it, but there's this big push about not paying property taxes and this, that, and the other. And I'll be the first one to tell you, if you can make my property taxes disappear and I can still have public services, you can sign me up immediately. I don't know how that happens. But from the state level right down to where we sit right here, where you folks sit, they're pushing the cost to us. And we're not given a voice in the room. We are being dictated to. The chiefs voiced this concern with the sheriff's department. The county leadership and the sheriff's department heard it directly from myself and Mr. Bertone, that we want an open dialogue. We want to be collaborative. They're in the business of helping and saving people just like we are, right? So it's something that we have to figure out. We're not the only community in Lake County that are choking on this increase. But that's kind of where we are at the moment. So I am okay with the recommendation of approving this with the 6-month out clause. But again, just know that conversations are going to be happening with this body and with our public if we stay in this contract, because there is no alternative. And we're going to look for an alternative if one presents itself. I don't have anything else on that. Chiefs, do you have anything to add?
No, my feelings.
Did I phrase the meeting correctly? Okay, thank you. Jim, in our conversation?
correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, Lucas, you got a couple more things here.
I have one last thing. Included in your packet is a Medi-Count billing rate change request from the fire department. So this is, Bob, please correct me if I'm wrong, this is what we charge to people's insurance
That's correct.
when they get transported.
Yes, we soft bill.
We would need a motion from council to adopt these new rates.
So is a motion okay with the numbers we have, Jim? Or does that have to go to Friday as well?
I think that traditionally, we've always passed it by way of a resolution. So in the past, in order to raise that rate in terms of, what we charge, and we send it down to the Medi-Account people. So I think we need to include it as a resolution.
I believe that Chris and Lisa went through our previous resolutions and could not find anything.
No kidding.
I don't, it doesn't matter to me how we do it, we just need to do it.
Right.
I mean, we can write it as a resolution and put it on the special for Friday.
I would prefer to do that, okay?
Okay.
I think it easier to find unless we did it and we can't find it, so.
Okay.
Passing it Friday is as good as tonight, correct?
Okay. Yeah.
And that is all that I had.
Does anyone have any questions of Lucas? Mr. Heights, I know you had a concern with some yellow striping, correct?
Yeah, actually, on East Street between Second and Fourth, more so between Second and Third, you can't see those yellow lines at all. I mean, especially like when it starts to get dark. During the sunlight, you can see it a little bit, but if there's anything that we can do soon, would help.
Long-term, yes. Soon, I don't know. My top concern would be if we restripe, is it going to get scraped off during the winter?
Well, then, first thing in the spring that we need to do that, like,
We should probably do
Right
an
away.
inventory of different places that need striping.
It was most of
Spring.
our, I think we just have one loop of streets that are actually striped.
Yeah. We call Jerry.
Okay, thank you, Jerry.
yep.
Thank you, Lucas. From our engineer, Andrew, welcome back.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of quick things this evening. For Newport Street, our design is close to being finished for the storm sanitary and water improvements project. We're targeting to get those plans out to advertisement by the end of the year and to have construction start in the spring. Also, Ohio EPA has a $20,000 grant opportunity to do a conditions assessment of the water system here. And we're looking at that opportunity and to submit an application next month. The goal here would be to use that grant money to develop a capital improvement plan for the short term, but also for a long-term timeline, usually about 20-year timeline for capital improvement. That's all I have this evening.
Anyone got any questions for Andrew? I do not. Thank you, sir. From our fiscal officer, Christine Page.
Okay. You all have the financial reports for October. The short version goes, our revenue for the month of October was $285,784.79. Your expenditures for the month were $313,284.97. Interest earned for the month of October was $15,755.83. Thus far, year to date, we have received $5,109,629.97. And your expenditures thus far are $4,213,513.72. October is reconciled, and at the back of the package is the check register for the month. I'm happy to answer questions if anyone has any of those.
I do not. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Fire and police reports are in your packets. Anyone have anything for the chiefs? Hearing not, thank you, gentlemen.
Do we need to discuss liquor control?
What do we need to discuss?
The liquor control? Dollar General?
Oh, Chris, you have the Dollar General's
Oh,
looking
the
to add
liquor
alcohol
control.
sales.
Right, so we received, I don't have my packet, it must be sitting on my desk, I'm sorry, I went and grabbed it. I grabbed everything but that. So, oh, thank you. We received from the Department of Liquor Control notification that the Dollar General has requested to be able to sell liquor from the Dollar General on East Street. They need a liquor permit for that. It is this board, this council's opportunity to challenge that request, and I need to know if you if you need to have a hearing with them, or if you are good for me to just to sign off and send it back. I personally don't have any issues with the Dollar General, but I don't live here, so if you guys have
This is,
concern.
so this is alcohol sales like we do at like a convenient. or
Beer and
anywhere
wine,
else?
yes.
Okay, beer and wine.
Yeah, C1, C2, yes.
I don't think I have a question about it.
I think probably wouldn't be bad to have a public hearing on it. Could we just do it before, next council meeting or something?
I don't think we do the hearing.
Okay.
Think
We're
that
subject
liquor
to
control
whenever
does
they
it.
want to do it.
Yep.
Yes, they get to decide.
And it
We
looks
have-
like the options are
Mhm.
in Painesville or in Columbus.
Painesville sounds good.
Well, we would have to have some reason, other than we just don't want another place selling beer and wine in the city or the village to object to it, that there's been trouble there, there's been repeated, police calls there, they don't meet the zoning, those kind of things. I don't, if we would have a hearing, and we could ask for it, we could always withdraw it, but you need specified grounds in order to object to it. So if there are liquor permits or beer and wine permits that are available, people are entitled to them unless they don't run their operation correctly. The same way if we have a bar in town, every year they have to, renew it. And in order for us to object to their renewal, we have to have grounds, to do it, other than we just, don't like, something about the owner or something. We have to be able to substantiate it. And it's really hard to substantiate. Painesville, a few times has gone through those hearings when there's been repeated police calls and
Problem areas.
nuisance problems, but, I'm not trying to stick up for Dollar General here. I just don't think we probably have it here. So if you want, we can wait till Friday, and we can get you a little bit more in terms of what the reasons for the objection process is, if that would
Sure.
help.
I just figured, open clarity for everybody here, because,
Right.
it's not like we're lacking for places to purchase alcoholic beverages in town. And like I say, that may not be one of the reasons to restrict it.
Right.
But also, I don't believe anybody else on council would have any other known reasons why you could or could not restrict it.
The response must be postmarked no later than November 21st, which is Friday.
Oh,
So
Which
of
is
course,
what?
we're doing everything last minute again.
No, sir, we
As
just got
usual.
it. We did.
Well, I believe you, but I mean,
Yeah, they don't give you get about 30 days notice when we get them. So unfortunately, this is the first meeting we could bring that up at, so. You want to put it on for talking about again at the special?
it's no point.
I'm done.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Uh-huh.
All right, so we're on to ordinances. Then ordinance number 2025-44, amending Village Code 112107, restrictions in the C2 zoning that has been tabled. Ordinance number 2025-96, establishing Chapter 159, Community Reinvestment Area, that would have been on third read tonight. It'll stay on third read until Friday, if we have a meeting then. Ordinance number 2025-97, amending 351.17 on-street parking during snow. That would have been on third read tonight. That, again, will be on Friday's meeting. Ordinance number 2025-106, amending Chapter 511, noise control. That is on second read this evening. Ordinance number 2025-107, amending Chapter 935, that's park regulation. That one as well is on second read this evening. I'll need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Bathnick?
Aye.
McKinney?
Aye.
Shaver?
Aye.
Heights?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution number 2025-109, a resolution amending compensation rates, setting special pay regulations, and declaring an emergency. That is on first read. That will be on Friday's meeting. Resolution number 2025-110, a resolution to request and amend certificate, approve and amend permanent appropriations, and declaring an emergency. That again is on first read and will be on Friday's meeting. Resolution number 2025-113, a resolution confirming the appointment of James M. Lyons as legal counsel, affirming his agreement, determining compensation, and declaring an emergency. That'll be on first read this evening as well and be on Friday's meeting. You may not be there, Jim, but welcome back. Okay. Resolution number 2025-114. Again, first read, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract addendum with Lucas Darling and declaring an emergency. Resolution number 2025-115, first read, a resolution authorizing the administrator to execute a compensation agreement with Christine J. Page and declaring an emergency. Resolution number 2025-116, again on first read, resolution to appoint a designee of the elected officials for the purpose of public records law and declaring an emergency. That'll be on Friday's meeting. Resolution number 2025-117, first read, a resolution authorizing the administrator to execute new medical insurance policies for village employees effective January 1st, 2026, and declaring an emergency. First read, again, that'll be on Friday's meeting. Resolution 2025-118, a resolution authorizing the administrator to enter into agreements with the Board of Commissioners of Lake County to provide central dispatch and communication services for the police and fire departments and declaring an emergency. That is on first read. That will be on Friday's meeting as well. Resolution number 2025-119, a resolution authorizing the discharging of obsolete or unfit municipal personal property and declaring an emergency. Again, first read this evening on for Friday. Resolution number 2025-120, a resolution appointing members of the Volunteer Fire Dependency Fund Board and declaring an emergency. That is on first read and will be on for Friday's meeting. Resolution number 2025-121, a resolution authorizing the administrator enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Public Entities Pool of Ohio for the provision of property and casualty insurance and declaring an emergency. Again, that is on first read and will be on for Friday's meeting. The one that we will be adding to Friday's meeting at the request of Mr. Lyons was a resolution for the approval of increased metal count rates, but that'll get its own number, I assume, which will be 122, but that'll be provided in that packet. Does council have anything else this evening?
Real quick, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Do we know if the water rights study is going to be ready to have a committee meeting for in first week in December, or are they not? Have they not committed to that as of yet?
With how often they've pushed back the deadline, I'm going to assume that they won't have it ready.
So we won't have anything
So in other
for
words,
the
okay.
first meeting in December?
Unless, or for the utilities committee,
Utilities.
no.
But
Yeah.
there will be a goods and grants meeting
Okay.
at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, can I go
Yes.
back to the liquor permit?
You can.
I was able to look up on my phone specific grounds that we can object to. If there's a criminal record that relates to, has been convicted of any time of a crime that relates to fitness to operate a liquor establishment, has operated liquor permit businesses in a manner that is demonstrated in disregard for the laws, regulations, or local ordinance of this state or any other state, has misrepresented a material fact in the application, is in the habit of using alcoholic beverages, well, that would be a person, not a corporation, to excess, that the place for which the permit is sought does not conform to the building safety or health requirements of the governing body, is so located with respect to the neighborhood that substantial interference with public decency, sobriety, peace, or good order would result from the issuance, renewal, transfer, to it. It's been declared a nuisance pursuant to Chapter 3767, which is a nuisance in terms of the way it's operated, because those are the general nuisance laws for the state of Ohio. And we would have to have one of those. Another one is that the place for which the permit is sought is so situated with respect to any school, church, library, public playground, or hospital that the operation of the establishment will substantially and adversely affect or interfere with the normal, orderly conduct of the affairs of those facilities or institutions. And those are hard things to prove on a beer and wine. If it was a bar that was staying open late and having all kinds of activity, but I think it'd be tough, Mr. McKinney.
No, okay. Well, just had no
Yeah.
idea, just figured it would be good, especially since we actually have a considerable audience tonight to actually
Great, so.
shed some light on things.
But I mean, if they do get this, and Chief Coran has problems down there, that are related to any of those factors, they have to renew it, and we would have an opportunity to weigh in here, okay? But
Sure, if it would become an issue.
right.
Thank you, Mr. Lyons. Anyone have anything else? Nothing? I have one thing before I open to the public. There's a community prayer service November 25th at 7 p.m. at the Fairport Harbor Congregational Church. We're coming together to kind of celebrate our police and firemen on that evening. It's an ecumenical type of a service. All are welcome. So hope to see you there. And
Would
we
you
are
say that
open.
was the 25th?
That is the 25th, 7 p.m. There will be a joint ecumenical choir of all the churches. So that and some instrumentation from folks. That alone is probably going to be worth showing up for. So looking forward to the evening. Okay, so we have an audience tonight. As you come up to the podium, state your name, address for the record. If you have anything that you'd like to distribute, please distribute that through Chief Coran. If not, that's it. We're open to the public. Come on up.
Yeah, Brian Toivonen, 612 3rd Street here in Fairport. Once again, my good neighbor Gary Donch and I are here to complain to council about the noise we're receiving from the Sylvanian Center. I have in my hand probably 6 reports since October of 24 that the police have been called. And every time they've had to go there and tell them to quiet down. The last report was 11/4/25. At 10:20, at 22:09 in the evening, my neighbor called, and the police report says that they sat out there in East Street, and they could hear the yelling and screaming from the bocce ball court. The policeman went there, knocked on the door, and they said he heard him say inside, "Who could be coming here at 10 o'clock at night?" And they said, "Oh, it's probably the cops because we've been noisy." So the policeman told him, "Hey, you either got to go in or you got to stop. That's 10 o'clock at night." I don't know if this is continuously going to go, or when do we create this as a nuisance? And it's interesting that you brought up about the nuisance renewing the liquor permit,
Right.
because you can hold that over their head until this noise is eliminated. This outdoor rec center right there does not belong in a residential neighborhood. So that's my complaint. And I have, like I said, probably 6 reports from October of last year. And that's the only ones I went down and got. Every night, 4 to 5 nights a week in the summertime, I could call every night, and it'd be against your ordinance. But I don't think I would feel right doing that Monday through Thursday, because that's a real waste of our resources. So I'm asking again, and that's very interesting that you brought that up, Mr. Lyons, about holding it over their head for a nuisance.
Just to let you know, I'm not, during the time I've been sitting here, I don't recall, since that's a private club, that we get notice from the liquor board about those renewals. We may, but I just don't know that for a fact.
Right,
So,
yeah.
okay.
I just picked up on that.
Pardon me?
I don't know that I've ever seen it.
Yeah, I don't know if we have a part in that process, Brian.
Right, but we surely have a card in the aspect of declaring it a nuisance to the neighborhood. I mean, how many times do I have to call, or my neighbor have to call? And it's just continuously, we're playing with them. They're making a mockery of the village. They know they're being loud, but they don't care, because when we go over there, we say, "Hey, if I got to come back here again, I'm going to give you a ticket." What good does that do? Nothing.
Chief Crayon, what do we see on our side when we go? Are you hearing any reports back from?
Yeah, I have them right here.
No, I know, I'm just wondering from your perspective, like,
We get a call, the officer responds, depending on where the noise is usually located at, whether the bocce ball courts or parking lot. You know, I can name a number of different things. The officer makes contact after being able to hear it from the right of way. They make contact wherever the noise would be coming from, like an individual. They give them a warning, "Hey, you gotta knock it off," and, you know, pretty much we get compliance. Now, I do know that we took, or the council took action this summer on some noise variances. It curbed quite a bit of it, but now we're talking about just little, you know, infractions with individuals that may not even be aware of, you know, our current actions over the summer. But we do get, a lot of the times now, we do get compliance on it. Just like what Mr. Toivonen was talking about, where the officer went up and made contact, and we didn't have to go back after that, I believe, so.
I mean, it just does no good to just say, "Hey," because they're just playing with us. They don't care. They obviously don't care if they're out 10 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, whatever time. It's not like my neighbor's having a birthday party for their kids, or nobody cares about that, right? It's every night in the summertime, because they got the bocce ball courts. Those are supposed to be completely enclosed. If we look through our zoning aspect, I don't know how that got there. And anything I can find says is if they have that outdoor activity, it's got to be in a completely enclosed building. So I leave that up to you guys to approach that and come back to me with an answer. It says residential zoning. I don't get it.
Anything else?
No.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks. If you want these reports, I can get them to you.
So, say, Brian, do you want to come back there? Just for a minute. On this agenda, there's, on second reading, there's a, and I don't know if you looked at it, but there is a resolution, actually, it should say it's an ordinance, because it is an ordinance.
511
Yeah,
or 106.
106, amending Chapter 511, which is the noise ordinance in the village. I don't know if you looked at those changes.
Yeah, keep it in there.
And, I mean, that was done, and I thought that Lucas did most of that drafting, and I thought he did a good job.
Right.
And while it's not in regards to this specific problem, I mean, it would apply to this specific problem, you know, to try to make it easier from an enforcement standpoint. Because I think anybody that's in this village, city, court, prosecutor, police position knows that noise cases are always hard at court in terms of what, you know, actually is a noise violation, unless you have a meter, and then you have to have it calibrated, and this takes that away from that. Now, could it be challenged in court? I guess it could, but I think it gives easier standards, you know, for the police to take a look at this and then decide when they want to ticket, okay? And if people get ticketed, you know, perhaps they won't do it again, okay? So,
Well, like I said, these reports have been since October. Nothing's changed because of the fact that we're just saying, well, hey,
no, I'm not,
you know what I mean?
I'm not arguing with you, believe me.
No,
you know,
I
but-
mean either.
right,
I'm just saying, when do we quit
Well, I'm
telling
sa-
them?
I think that the noise situation, and Lucas is the one who seized on this, you know, thought that we needed to upgrade it, and I agree with him. And I know that he ran it by the chief, and I think it's, you know, council's been looked at. And we think, you know, the community input, that's why it's on for 3 readings. And I think that it would help these kind of situations. Now, in terms of what's considered prohibited generally, human-made noise, because you're talking human-made noise, I mean, it does have a time period from, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., okay? Now, maybe that's not a good time period, 10 p.m., okay? But
Well, like I said, it's just continuously, and we
Right.
haven't done, there's no need for them to stop. Because they don't get nothing but, hey, we're gonna ticket you next time. Like I said, they know, just from this last statement, that they know they're doing wrong.
I
But they
think-
just don't care.
I think Chief Coran could, since he's been not only at this department, but at other departments and knows of, you know, the way that other departments operate. I think that pretty much the standard operating procedure that I've seen over the years is you get a noise complaint, and then you go to a place and you tell them it's too loud, and you give them a chance to, you know, to quiet down, and if they do, you know, you treat that as being taken care of that night. Now, normally, you know, that's as a result of a big loud party, okay, but your situation is different because it's evidently a pretty good party, you know, for a number of straight days, and so the
Well, you
police
put-
will have to take a look at, you know, what they think, you know, would be an effective way to try to, you know, bring about enforcement of the ordinances, okay?
Right.
So-
Like I said, you take, like I told the fella there next to you, you take a look at the zoning and see if it belongs there. If it belongs in a residential area.
Well,
I mean,
we don't have I know that Lucas has looked at that, but as best as I can tell from looking at the county maps, the Slovenian group has owned that place since 1951.
correct.
Right,
it
and
hasn't-
so that also, I believe, according to Lucas, kind of predated our zoning, so at the very least, it would be a non-conforming use.
Well, there was no outdoor activity in 1951. There was no outdoor activity in 1973 when I moved there. And then they let them build the parking lot, and the village let them build the outdoor centers. All there was the house in the front and the bar. No parking lot, no nothing. It's
I'm
been
not,
built up.
yeah, okay.
So that's, you know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
not like it was always there in 1951. There was nothing there but the bar behind me.
Okay, all of those, additional buildings. I'm aware that there are buildings there more than just,
Correct.
that house that's right across from your house, more or less. But when those other ones were built, the records that we're looking at are not specific, at least in terms of what we found so far here. We may have to go to a higher source and talk to Vern. Okay, so.
The last one was built in 23.
Okay. So
The last addition in that was built in 23.
the last edition?
Yes, inside the last pavilion was in 23 they built. So maybe they didn't even get a permit, I don't know.
I don't know that answer.
Right.
So, right.
It's been since the pandemic,
Yeah. Okay.
so that's it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Jan Williams.
Hi, Jan.
I live right across the street at 1249 High Street. I'm here, I'm pretty much representing all the houses across High Street. I'm the only one that could come tonight for that. I just want it to be known that we're all against this proposed gas station in Steeles Plaza and the coffee shop. And I have just a couple pictures I wanted to pass around. And this one, and I'll pass it around, but I'll show the audience first, is just looking out my front door. We're pretty much right across the apron of Steeles Plaza. Our driveways meet. And that, if you all want to look at, where this is looking out my front door here, driveway, and this is Steeles Plaza. And where this boat and trailer and car is, basically is where they want to put this 100-foot canopy at a gas station across there. Now this isn't the Sunoco that they want to, but this is a 100-foot canopy in there that we took a picture of.
Can you please speak into the microphone so our friends at home can hear?
Okay, fine. I guess I'm kind of quiet. I don't normally do this.
You're doing fine.
Also, my next picture was pretty much a Google Earth picture, but it had a scale on it that was 1 inch was 60 feet. So I have an aerial view of the Steele Plaza right over there in the triangle, and where they want to put this 100-foot canopy, which is what they're asking for a variance for, from 40 feet down to 5 feet. And so this is the yellow, is where the canopy is going to go, which takes up all these parking spots in Steeles Plaza. This here is a 68-foot gas truck. That's the range that they normally supply gas with and come in and fill the pumps. Now, there's nothing that says where these gas tanks are going, the traffic, how to come through here with a huge gas truck.
Hey, Jan,
And, yes.
you're really speaking to council here.
Oh,
So if you could just talk to us and keep it in the microphone,
Oh, all right.
I would
Sorry.
appreciate that.
Okay,
Thank
I'll
you.
show you guys this, and if you can see the yellow, this is where the canopy is, and this is to scale here. So their variance, they want 5 feet off of the line here. And I'll pass that around. So just to go on record, we all oppose this gas station across the street for many reasons. And Stephanie is our realtor that is going to speak about
Thank you, Jan.
our property values. Can these be distributed, please? Thank you. And these are some of the photos as well.
about the properties. My name is Stephanie Schreiber, and I'm from 538 Independence Street.
Mayor, do you want to look at this first?
You just pass it along. Go ahead.
The Hidden Harbor community, a conservative property valuation, there's 84 condos over there, and they're guesstimating that they're worth about $275 apiece, a little higher, a little lower. It's a $23 million in property value over there. Then there's the 10 single-family homes on High Street that those houses are the largest houses in Fairport. And they are paying more taxes than anyone else in Fairport. They're valued at $6.5 million. Some of those people pay between $10,000 and $12,000 a year to live there. We're talking about putting a gas station right across from them. I know years ago there was a gas station. I'm also, I was born and raised in Fairport, had family here forever. I do think that spot needs something. I do think that Fairport needs industry. I also think that, every program we have needs money. I mean, nobody's going to sit here and say that it doesn't. But these homeowners have been paying their taxes, and they've been paying exorbitant amounts of taxes. They pay more in taxes than they would if that same house was in Wake Hills, because there's no industry here. So what I'm saying is not that we should not think about industry, but we should also care about the people that have lived here that have, these aren't your troublemakers up here, these are the people that are going to events, and the amount of trash that's at gas stations, the amount of pollution, they talk about air pollution, that sort of thing, and that area, traffic is tight in that area anyways. I don't see from any of the renderings that they drew where you can fit a gas station and a coffee shop in there without people T-boning somewhere in there. I also believe that, this council knows we have had some traffic issues in that area. There was a motorcycle accident in that area. There have been many people at the Senior Citizen Center that complain they have trouble getting in and out of the Senior Citizen Center if there's anything going on in town. I also think that property values, if we put this in across from that, those property values are going to diminish. We're going to have an issue with that, which will then affect our taxes as well, because you won't have as many people paying the taxes. They are not asking for a small variance for a fence. They are not asking for a small variance for a garage that's over on somebody's property. They're asking for a 35-foot variance. 35 feet is more than from me to that window. That's a large, some of our houses in Fairport are 35 feet wide. So we're talking about jamming two things in there that should not fit because they weren't designed to fit. Our variances were there for a reason, to make sure that what you put in those places are not in a place that they don't fit. And in our opinions, those two don't fit. If it's a coffee shop only or a gas station only, the other thing too is at the last zoning meeting, we originally heard it was 2 gas stations or 2 pumps, and then it was extended to 4. Well, 4 pumps, you have people on both sides of the pumps. So now you're having 8 people trying to get gas at the same time. In the summer, there's not enough room. And then you're going to be taking away from the parking at Seals Plaza. What about the businesses in that plaza that have been there for years? I just thought that the council should know there are many people in town that are opposed to this, and this is why. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Hi, my name's David Williams. My family lives across the street at 1249 High Street. I've got some copies that I printed for here of an official letter that we gave to the BZA at the meeting last week. I've got some source material in here. Basically, I just want to speak to the history of the proposal itself. This was before the Planning Commission 4 years ago, December of 2021. Mr. Mayor, you were there. You initiated the motion to reject the proposal. Initially, they sought to rezone the front site. There's 2 pieces where the old bait shop was. That's zone C2, which does not permit a gas station. C3, a gas station is one of the permitted uses. However, at that meeting, they rejected the zoning proposal to rezone C2 unanimously. The idea was also floated to seek this variance. At the time, the Planning Commission had concerns with respect to traffic, safety, lighting, and just the site constraints itself. So let me distribute this for you guys to review. I guess I was asked to come here tonight. If anyone's a fan of the movie My Cousin Vinny, I'm a bit of a Mona Lisa Vito of zoning. I own a business in Painesville Township. I've been to many meetings such as this. I feel it was kind of unfair for the BZA. They got this hot potato first. In my experience, you know, a proposal like this, as Stephanie brought up, it's not a benign structure like a fence or a shed. I mean, a gas station is very much a living, breathing organism that requires delicate consideration throughout all parties within a community. The proposal itself was very light on specifics. We didn't know until the end of the meeting how many pumps that they were actually proposing. So I just wanted to speak to the history of this. It was the will of the Planning Commission. Mayor's a member of that. Council members were members of that. You know, elected representatives of the people of Fairport. One of the things that they have to basically evaluate when we're looking at this project, that was rejected initially when it was just a gas station. Now, in addition to that, within the application, and it's within the copies that I'm spreading around, the applicant stated that they will only buy the site if they can have both the gas station with canopy and pumps and the coffee shop. So if we were concerned about traffic and safety lighting when it was just a gas station, I think we should be doubly concerned. I mean, anybody who's driven by a Dunkin' Donuts or a Starbucks early in the morning is well aware of the lines that they can get at the drive-thru. At that particular intersection, I mean, just imagine somebody's waiting to fill up their boat going to the lake. There's a little bit of congestion getting in there. You know, you're going to have somebody parked on High Street with their turn signal waiting for the traffic to clear so they can go and fill their boat up. So just wanted to make everyone aware of the history of the proposal. I think when it comes to community planning, getting more people involved, getting insight from you guys, I appreciate the decision to table a vote until their next meeting, but I would certainly encourage council to invite the applicant here to give a more detailed proposal, or certainly attend or collaborate or have a joint meeting with BZA, you know, when this comes up again before rendering a decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Larry Riddle at 585 Hidden Harbor, the neighborhood behind where the Williamses live and the 10 houses that are on that frontage. Thank you, Mayor, for letting us be here, staff.
Thank you.
Council members, appreciate you all being here. I would like to pass out to you all my remarks, and then also, if it's okay, the remarks that I tried to submit to the BZA. I mean, I did submit the actual written remarks, but unfortunately, we didn't have an opportunity to really make a thorough presentation. So one of those are from my remarks tonight, and the other one is from my remarks that for the BZA meeting. I'm really not sure how we got into a public hearing on this matter at this stage of the game. Mr. Williams has tried to demonstrate the process, but what seems to be sort of flawed already. So for now, we're at a public hearing step. To prepare for these public hearings for us lay people, it takes a considerable amount of effort. It's disappointing to continue, to counter to the function of the public hearing process, to be giving 2 minutes to present your information. That's what we were giving at the BZA meeting to prepare or to at least demonstrate what our concerns are about the approval of the waiver. So during the public address portion of the meeting, it had barely started when the chairperson stifled discussion by limiting the whole conversation to 2 minutes per person. Everyone agrees that a reasonable time period is appropriate. You can't belabor these things all night long and let them drag out forever. I get it. 2 minutes isn't reasonable, whatever the reason. It's just not, it isn't practical. I didn't see anyone recording the minutes. I didn't see anyone taping the minutes, but I've since learned from Lucas that they were recorded and they will be available shortly, so I appreciate that. I'm really curious about that because as I read the Sunshine Law, again, as a layperson, more specifically, Ohio Administrative Code 3358 1701-14.k provides for 6 valid reasons for holding an executive session. I'm sure you know them, but those that don't, please let me give you the highlights of that code, and I won't belabor it, but just to give you the high points. The 6 reasons for holding an executive session. The vote to go into executive session must be a roll call vote. A motion and vote must specify the purpose of the executive session, to consider the purchase of property. The motion or vote should specify one or more of the purposes set forth in paragraph A1. One of them is to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion of public employees. That doesn't seem to fit the reason for that going into this executive session. Consider the purchase of property. Consider the sale of property. Again, doesn't fit. Conference with the public body's attorney concerning pending imminent court. No, there wasn't any of that, so that didn't fit. Preparing for, conducting, and reviewing collective bargaining strategies. Nope. Matters required to keep confidential by federal law. Nope. Specify details of security arrangements. That doesn't fit either. So restrictions on the use of executive sessions. Provisions allowing executive sessions are to be strictly construed in favor of openness. The public body has the burden of demonstrating that one of the statutory exceptions allows the executive session. Only the deliberation upon the accepted subjects can be held in executive session. So I don't know. Before the panel went into the executive session, I noticed that there was no conversation between the board members, no dialogue back and forth, there's no discussion. And next thing you know, after some people had an opportunity to speak, the chairperson calls for a vote to go into executive session without actually, at least nobody that I have talked to could hear themselves that it was acknowledged that the reason for going into executive session. It doesn't, I don't know, none of those issues sort of fit in that tight-fitting shoe. So,
Mr. Mayor, can I help a little?
You can.
So, I agree that.
Thank you.
I agree none of those things fit for executive session, but a Board of Zoning Appeals is considered, it's obviously a public body, but it's considered an adjudicatory body because they listen to facts, they weigh the facts, they apply it against the law in terms of granting variances, and they are allowed to deliberate in private. So it's not an executive session, okay? It's the same thing that a jury does in terms of talking about things, and then they have to come out. If they do decide to go into a deliberation, you know, to talk about it, and they don't have to talk about it in front of all the people. And that's a recognized, you know, part of a BZA operation, sir. Okay, and so I know everybody is chat GPTing, and it should even be in chat GPT somewhere. Okay, there's a lot of false positives in there, but that type of stuff is, and or you can go to the Attorney General has something called a yellow book, you know, that lists all of the open meeting laws, and they have stuff in there about BZAs and deliberations. Okay, that might help you here.
Got it.
Okay.
Well, I think the concern for me is that there was very little discussion. You go into executive session and come out of executive session with a whole kind of a different understanding. But my actual understanding is that without the variance, the application already has the zoning. The applicant has the zoning to build a gas station. I understand that the zoning of the past, good or bad, must be dealt with, but continuing past bad zoning rules can, at least in this case, be less damaging to the property owners across the street if the variance is denied. Then we can fix the problem. Gas stations should not be permitted next to a residential area. There should be some buffer to protect the homeowner. I know it's not your fault, but you can fix it. If a gas station exists on that property when I decided to invest in Fairport, then I would live quietly and live with my decision. The houses and the condos were built after the previous uses for that area had been removed. Maybe the building was still there, but as I understand it, it was before my time, the uses were no longer being conducted. There was a bait shop or whatever. The building was there, ramshackle condition, and about to be torn down thereafter, in a short while thereafter. Now, you want to put a gas station next to a residential area? That's not a question, that's an exclamation point. That simply isn't good land use planning. The folks that need your protection aren't those that would have to drive an additional 4 to 5 minutes like they do now to go to Sheets. They won't be damaged in any way. But the property owners that live across the street will. That's according to a real estate professional who testified at the BZA public hearing. Again, I presented my comments to the meeting as well and requested it be entered into the record. We're asking you to do what you can to deny this variance request. Protect the residents. If the applicant chooses to build his gas station without the variance, then okay. But why continue or make that not a special use condition, but a part of the condition of zoning by approving a variance that's not necessary? We don't need a gas station on that corner. We don't need the problem. We don't need the noise. I'm not particularly enthused about the idea of setting out in the summertime on my patio with a cup of coffee and hearing over the loudspeaker at the coffee shop if somebody wants to have extra foam in their latte. It's not very far across there with an east wind and all the noise coming off of the pumps. You go to any gas station practically, you walk up to it and it starts talking to you, playing music. I don't know. If you don't live there, it's probably not an issue, but you guys can help us. You can protect us. We're the taxpayers. We're the voters. We need your help. We're not looking to eliminate some multi-million-dollar operation that's not, it's already zoned in a proper location. But I got a thought, and you guys probably already considered this because I don't know. But why doesn't this council be proactive and create a committee to hire, or even hire a consultant to search for a grant or public-private partnership to obtain the corner of that property and develop it for the benefit of the village? Make it a welcoming entrance, not a gas station. Again, please enter my comments into the record as well. Thank you for the opportunity. Any questions here?
I do not. Thank you. Anyone else?
If no one else, can I just add one thing?
Sure.
For legal counsel. The way this was kind of presented, and you guys have a copy of the site plan, basically In my opinion, if you were to grant the variance, or if BZA was to grant the variance, you're implicitly rezoning the front site, because when you look at the site plan, they're going to need an easement from the front site, the C2 site. So you're basically using a piece of property where it is not permissible to have a gas station for access into the gas station. My other couple of questions that were on the top there: if the BZA does approve the variance, does council or planning commission have the authority to override that decision? And if not, what other governmental or county-based, bodies would this go before for other, approvals, permitting, et cetera? But it kind of presents a zoning gray area where this is kind of a legal maneuver to get around the past decision to reject the rezone by sticking it there, but you still have to use the front site for access. Thank you.
I'll refer to Jim.
Some communities that have, well, almost everybody has a BZA, but some communities require any decision of the BZA to go to council for another hearing and then eventually approval. That has never been the situation in Fairport. Or in most communities. It is in Willowick, which is something that's actually kind of unusual. But if the BZA would turn down this variance, then the property owner would have a right to appeal that decision to the Court of Common Pleas on what's called an administrative appeal, where the record, which is everything that was said at the BZA hearing, would be typed up. Findings of fact and conclusions of law would have to be entered by the BZA. That would be submitted up to the court, and then the Court of Common Pleas would act as a court of appeals in that position to review that decision to determine if there were sufficient facts to sustain that. On the other hand, people who oppose it, that participate at the BZA hearing and object to it and give specific factual reasons for doing that, if the variance would be granted, they would also have a right to appeal that decision to the Court of Common Pleas. And that happens less often than the applicant appealing, but that's the level of review that happens at that level. In terms of the easement situation that you talked about, I think that's an interesting issue. Okay, so.
I mean, my biggest concern, this is a permitted use, it's not a conditional use. So the topic that came up at the meeting, I mean, again, we didn't find out how many pumps were there. And to the applicant's credit, they said we weren't asked to. We just basically, can we get the variance? And if we can, we will go to Planning Commission. BZA was seemingly, we'll let Planning Commission figure out how many pumps, pump orientation, but again, it's a permitted use. Once you grant the variance, you've tied the hands behind the back of the Planning Commission. If they have the same objections that they had 4 years ago, if now the applicant has the variance, I don't know how many guardrails necessarily they could put on the project.
Bump in here again. I thought, according to the well-presented case before, that I forget his name, unfortunately.
Larry.
He indicated that was the Planning Commission was considering a zoning change.
Correct. In
Right.
the first
Okay,
matter.
Right. But was there a separate request to build a gas station also, or was it just a zoning change?
They were requesting a zoning change to accommodate a gas station.
Okay, but
And
then but then they still would, and that was denied, so they're left with this C2
Correct.
and C3.
That was floated.
Right.
It's in the minute meetings. There's a Mr. Radacci. I don't know if he works for the county or whatnot. He was asked to comment. Basically, he felt that it would chew into the minimum number of parking spaces required, so both thoughts were discussed by the Planning Commission. The matter before them was to reject the rezone. Informally, they kind of shot down the idea that is now being tried here today. So
if it wasn't specifically before them, and it was just talk, it's not binding.
Okay.
I mean,
Which,
it's just-
yeah, they're trying it, which is their right
Yeah,
to
it's
do.
just-
I
mean,
appreciate
A lot of
so.
times on zoning requests, you're not required, to say what you're going to build, but you're going to say that this zoning, let's say that the point was residential, we need to have that zoned C3 so it's consistent, because it's useless, at that particular point in time. And you don't have to tell, the board, what it's for. If they ask, you can tell them what your plans are, but then your plans can change. A lot of times you find applicants end up putting deed restrictions on to limit what they can do, but that's not an issue, in terms of this. I mean, the issue here really, is correct. If this was just a standalone gas station, forget the easement type situation that you talked about, but if it was a standalone gas station that met the zoning setbacks, then evidently they could build it.
Correct, yes.
Right now,
Yes.
without getting any approval other than site plan approval, because it's a commercial structure. But that's just to make sure that the procedural ordinances, in the village, and what's needed, in terms of that section of the code are met.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
No, I mean, setbacks and they're not arbitrary. I mean, you put them, it's one thing if it's residential, again, a fence or a shed being a little closer to a property line, but 3,000 square foot gas station canopy, that's a different matter entirely. So I just wanted that clarification. Again, I don't envy the BZA for getting this first. In my experience in Painesville Township, a matter is brought before the trustees or council, everybody gets a chance to weigh in, they give the applicant feedback, the applicant comes back with a proposal, and if everybody gets on board, they'll assess, hey, we need a variance or we might need this, who do we seek next? BZA is usually the last step in that process as opposed to the first step. And I think they would probably feel much better voting on something that either had the blessing or basically the understanding that this is either good or not so good for the community. So that's just where we're coming from. But thank you.
Thank you again.
Mr. Mayor, can I offer another comment, please?
Sure.
Thank you. One of the things during the BZA meeting that I think kind of maybe ruffled some feathers to more than just me, but during the meeting, there was as I said, there was very little discussion amongst the board members and such, which, okay, I get. They go into executive session, come back out.
Deliberations.
Okay. Well, I thought it was termed executive session.
Okay, well, they may have misspoke, but.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
All right, okay.
So when the board comes back out, they have some things that they want to discuss with the applicant. So the applicant comes back up to the front of the room, and they start to negotiate or try to form a compromise from the 40-foot setback to maybe a 25. Or instead of a 100-foot canopy, can we do something smaller than that? Doesn't seem like that's appropriate for the board to be negotiating with the applicant when we've had 2 minutes to kind of give our information that didn't get it all across, that could influence some of those things also. My belief is that a gas station should not be next to a residential area without a buffer. It's got to be a buffer in there, no matter what it looks like. But so again, I hope you all can help us. We appreciate your opportunity to at least have the discussion with you all, and hopefully that you'll see kind of where the dilemma we're in as property owners and help us out. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you again. If nothing else, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Becknick. Motion.
I seconded. He first.
Oh, you seconded. Okay, so sorry. McKinney.
Aye.
Becknick. Favor. Aye. Thank you.